Now, finally, I want to share something with you all, which I think is interesting. 2 days ago, I thought that's where we were at. And I discovered yesterday that that's actually not the case in a sense. Again, incredibly, quietly and unannounced, the Queensland Termination of Pregnancy Guidelines have been revised again. Again. These new guidelines are more expansive on the live birth issue. And to be honest, I haven't had time to properly reflect on all of them. However, they still make some incredible claims. But obviously, due to the constraint of time, I'm not to share everything. But I want to just share one. This is page 28 of the new revised Queensland Guidelines for Termination of Pregnancy Abortion Guidelines. Now, granted, the image isn't too good. But what I want to do, I want to focus on the updated very first line under the heading Duty of Care. Listen to this. The new guidelines state that once removed or expelled from a woman's uterus, a womb, and born alive, a fetus only becomes a person, in brackets, baby, and assumes legal status and rights independent of the rights of the parent. This is interesting, but very worrying. Again, they state here that a baby only becomes a person once it's been removed or expelled from the woman's uterus or womb. Folks, that is not a scientific position. That is not a biological position. That's a philosophical position in the guidelines here. And I want to provide some empirical evidence, evidence-based approach and an anecdotal objection as well. First, if you go to other Queensland health guidelines, not regarding abortion, but instead, let's look at the pregnancy of, this is the pregnancy guidelines. They have a section on fetal movements. They probably have more sections, but again, I've not had a chance to have a look. In that section, the guidelines have no issue using the language of baby for a child that's in the womb. Isn't that interesting? For example, you can't see it there, but it says fetal movements reassure that the baby is well. Fetal movements may vary between pregnancies and babies. However, again, in the updated termination of pregnancy guidelines, it says a fetus only becomes a baby when they are born. This is inconsistency here for practicing midwives, as well as the cognitive dissonance from those writing these guidelines, is truly mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. They are all over the place with this. They're all over the place. They have changed their guidelines twice in 2 years. They've changed it twice in 2 years because of, ultimately, because they've been seeing what we've been doing in the Senate and in the Queensland bills. Just think about that. Theoretically, a midwife could be in one room and asked to treat the unborn as a baby. That same midwife could walk next door to the other room and be told not to treat that unborn as a baby until it's been expelled from the uterus. Crazy. That's what we're dealing with at the moment. Absolute madness. I actually feel really sorry for Queensland midwives. They are victims of anti-life ideologues and bureaucrats who are imposing their anti-life ideology upon their profession. I feel really sorry for them. The guidelines are evidence of this. People become midwives to save life, to bring life into the world, not to facilitate the taking of life. So that's an empirical objection. Next, a personal anecdotal objection. My wife is currently pregnant with our second child. Stand up, Mel. I'm joking. When we went for a 12-week scan, they talked to me and Mel about our baby. In Australia, they say bub, so I had to learn that one. They said, look, there's baby's heartbeat. Look, there's baby's legs. They didn't say, look, there's your fetus. No, they said, here's your baby. And they're right to say that, aren't they? Because it's true. That's my baby. It's not a baby once Mel gives birth. It's a baby now. So what's the big point I'm making here? What's the underpinning issues with these bills? The real issue is that in Queensland, we have different guidelines and laws based on whether a child is wanted or unwanted. That's the issue. And that's a tragedy. In Queensland, we discriminate against unwanted children. Inside the womb, with abortions. But the Babies Born Alive Bill highlights that we also discriminate against unwanted babies outside of the womb as well. Friends, wantedness, and I know that's grammatically incorrect. I've done that purposely so you remember it. Wantedness should not determine the type of healthcare a baby receives. All right? That's it. That's the reality. In Queensland, any child, regardless if they are wanted or unwanted, should be loved and cherished.